Hi everyone, I am Maylee from Group 5 and today's video we're going to tackle about the earthquake.
Earthquake. Noun. A shaking of the ground, caused by volcanic activity or movement around geologic faults.
An earth, also known as quake, tremor or trembler, is the shaking of the surface of the earth resulting from the sudden release of energy in the earth's lithosphere that creates seismic waves. Earthquakes can range in size from those that are so weak that they cannot be felt to those violent enough to toss people around and destroy whole cities.
Ground shaking is the most familiar hazard of an earthquake. It is the result of rapid ground acceleration due to the collision of tectonic plates. Ground shaking is the reason why earthquakes are so dangerous. It is a hazard that triggers this.
One of the many common features of the Earth's internal and external systems is the process of earthquake ruptures. Generally, an earthquake rupture refers to a slip, whether on the surface or beneath, in the Earth's crust that results in a fault and displacement of some sort. Earthquake ruptures occur for many reasons that include landslides, an eruption of a volcano, the formation of a new fault, or a slip on an existing fault.
Liquefaction happens when waterlogged loose soil, we call it sand, turns into quicksand, temporarily. If you look closely at sand, you'll realize that it's actually comprised of tons of tiny rocks, and their roundness and roughly uniform size mean there's space between them that can get filled by water. When we step on saturated sand at the water's edge, it's fairly stable because the particles get pushed together and rest on each other, while any excess water escapes by flowing away to where the pressure is lower. We can and do build buildings on wet sandy soil, since the weight of the grains and the friction between them makes the soil behave as a solid most of the time. But in an earthquake, soil particles repeatedly jostle back and forth so much that the water can't flow away. Loosely packed, dry soils tend to compress under stress, but with incompressible water unable to escape the gaps between grains, the soil can't compress and the water takes the load. Unfortunately, water as a liquid doesn't have much structural integrity, so if the saturated soil is forced to compress too much too quickly, it'll start to act like a liquid, and dense objects resting on the now liquefied soil will sink. You can experience liquefaction for yourself in the water-soaked sand near the edge of a beach. It feels pretty solid if you stand still, but if you wiggle your feet, the movement causes the sand to liquefy beneath you, and you start sinking. On a larger scale, earthquake-induced liquefaction can swallow cars, roads, and even enormous apartment complexes.
Landslides occur when gravity overcomes the frictional forces keeping layers of rock in place on a slope. The ground we stand on is made up of layers of different rock and other materials. Often, a weak geological layer, for example a fragile layer of shale, will form a failure plane, which makes a slope unstable. The mass of material on top of this plane can be held in place by friction alone. If something happens to disrupt the balance, then the top layer of land can also trigger landslides. As the ground shakes, the upper layers of rock can become dislodged.
Babay ko konti ay. Wala. Sabar. Ang naraang.